Conference will now be recorded.
Hello everyone, good morning. Today we are going to start ABAP coding. Let me connect to SAP system. As we already know, our SAP system is such a way designed. We have transaction where user enter inputs and that data once they click on save in the backend application layer. So changing backend application layer, which is going to collect that data and then it will store data into the database. This is how our applications are designed. Changes made to the data dictionary key in event. So this is presentation layer where user access with the T codes and they will enter data. And this is application layer where we have programs which are written with ABAP programming language which collects that data. And finally, we have database where we have tables. Those are getting updated. So now we know how to create table and how to update data. So now we were seeing how these programs are created with the web language and how the data we will collect at application layer, which means this is CPU layer. At that layer, how we will collect before processing to the database layer. So to understand this, we have to understand the basics. In ABAP, there are fundamentals are there. So that we will learn through program. So first thing is you need to remember transaction code where we can go and write our ABAP language is SE38. We need a place where we can write our code and execute. So SAP provided a tool called ABAP Editor that is we can access through SE38 transaction. And once you come here, you have to create a program either Y or Z. That depends on your requirement. So I'll be creating like this Jet7 Sanjay ABAP basics. Click on create program to understand ABAP basics and types. So we have different types. We'll come to understand slowly. At this moment, use executable program. Executable program means the program can execute without any dependencies. And then click on save. Save as local object. Now we are in ABAP editor and this is the place where you can go and write your code is using ABAP language and system can understand this language. So now if you look at this editor where few things are observed, which is a program is created with our name using a keyword And whatever you see here, these are upper characters are keywords. In SAP, so many keywords are there, and each keyword has its own functionality and purpose. And if you write any code in a web language in editor, in definitely one keyword must be there in any line, and every line must ends with period. And also you can observe, like one word to another word we have space. ABAP is space sensitive language. This is not case sensitive language. So you can, if you want, you can write in any characters. System will not give any issues. So how do we verify whether this code is correct or not? Save, check, activate. These are the three things we have to perform at the end. So see, now system is reading our program lines and it is able to understand, and there is no error. And what we observed is there is a default line which is created by system, and here it is has been used a keyword called report. And this keyword purpose is it is going to tell us there is a program with this name is created. That is what the purpose of keyword report. And every line we can see it ends with a period. And for example, if I remove this and I am again checking, save, check. Now you can see the check, which is basically performing interpreter at the back end. And this interpreter is saying to me there is a line which is not complete, and what is missing? Period is missing. See the beauty of ABAP, how good. You are getting a messages, a very clear messages what is wrong, and you can correct it. And the one more advantage, if you have 100 lines of code, you did a mistake on 20th line, and when you do save check, what will happen? One by one line execution will be taken care by the interpreter. So when it comes to 20th line, if it finds any error, it will stop executing the remaining lines and it will throw you an error. So one line issue you addressed, then only it will go and check for the other line. Because of this, errors will be identified easily and corrected. Now you can see a line number is telling on which line number you have this issue. And sometimes if you don't know what is the line, you can click on this error. When you click on the error, cursor will go to the line where the issue is occurring. Now add a period. Save, check. There is no errors, activate. And for example, if I am removing space here, save, check. Again, there is a issue because system is unable to understand this line. System point of view, this line is no meaning. That is what. So you need to provide a space between one line to another line so that system able to understand. And also, whenever you are writing code, make sure indent of the code is good and alignment to be proper. So for that we have some settings. Those are pretty printer settings. Where we can does this is, if you go to utilities settings where you have a pretty print, and here select this indent checkbox and select this convert upper and lowercase. In convert upper and lowercase you have four options, and if you choose lowercase, whatever you write in the editor everything will be in lowercase. If you select uppercase, the code what you written here everything will be converted to uppercase. And if you want only keywords uppercase, then you can choose this one. Keywords lowercase, choose this one. And I want a code adjusted properly, and only I need keywords to be turned into uppercase, so I am selecting this. And once you've done this settings, continue. So the advantage is, if you write the code like this and you wanted to understand in this line what are the keyword and what is not the keyword, then click on pretty printer. So now you can see keywords only turned into uppercase and the name which is turned into lowercase because this is not the keyword. Now save, check, activate. So in this way, every time when you write the code, use this pretty printer so that your code looks good. Now I wanted to create a data object. Everything is a data object uh, in editor, which means here we are saying that we are using ABAP to collect the data, right? So to collect the data, you have to create a memory area. That is nothing but data object. You have to create a data object. So that data object at runtime, it will collect the data. So this data objects, how we will create that we will see. So data object is nothing but which collects data at runtime is called data object. Keywords, keyword is nothing but every keyword has its own purpose, and whatever the keyword you are seeing now report, that is the purpose to indicate it's a program created. So every line of code must be having a keyword. And also we have syntax. So syntax in the sense, for example, I wanted to create a data object. So there is a syntax to create the data object. So data object is what? Which holds data at runtime. And what is the syntax? Syntax is data object type followed by data type. And these are called comment lines. So when you use star system point of view, it's a commented line. And one more way also we can write comment lines, that is double quotes program, and this is called inline comments. So this star lines and double quote line system, it will not consider as a code. Those are comments. Now save, check, activate. For example, you have not written properly, so you ignore to maintain as a comment. Then save, check. System will throw you error because this is not a proper line of code. It's a comment code I'm written to explain you how do we create the data object. Now I wanted to create a data object to store integer values. Then how can we create data followed by n1 and type followed by I. So what will happen with this line? System, it creates a data object n1 and it allocates a memory and it is ready to hold integer values. You can pass 4, 6, something like that. So now with the line above data n1 type I, what will happen? Only a data object is created and I wanted to pass data, then n1 equal to 2. Write n1 pretty print, save, check, activate. So in this line I have created a data object n1, and for n1 I have assigned a value which is 2, and then I am asking system to print this value into the output. Now execute. So this is my result. I wanted to see how system is able to create it. Then place the cursor at the line n1 and then click a breakpoint. Now execute. Now we are in application layer. This is application layer, what we see CPU, how our code is understanding. Now double click on N1. Now you can see N1 is a data object. If you double click again N1, you can see N1 is a data object field which is created with integer data type, and it by defaultly it will allocate 4 characters. Now we were passing value to click F5 here. These are steps you need to click F5. So these steps you will understand slowly. When you click F5, it will go from 14th line, and you can see here now the value which is assigned to our data object, that is 2, and where this value now, it is in application layer, right? So we executed program, and this program interpreter is reading in the application layer, and now application layer which created a data object N1, and it is holding a value 2, but I wanted to see this value into the output presentation layer. Then we have to use a keyword called write. Write is a keyword which is used to print data objects data into the output. Now F8. Now you can see value of 2 which is coming, and this is the way we will create a simple data objects, and then we will print the data whatever we want into the output. And today what we have discussed is we written a simple one line of code, and inside the code what is system understanding and what are there inside this piece of logic that we have discussed. So this is a statement you are communicating with system computer with your ABAP programming language, saying that create a data object N1 and assign memory to this data object to hold integer values. This is the exact meaning which you communicated to the system. So system now it is able to allow integer values into this data object. So if you pass N1 value as 4, system will ready to take this value because your data object was created and memory allocation happened to store integer type values. For example, if you are trying to pass Sanjay, so system will not accept. So it will throw error. Why? Because the format is not integer, it's a character format. So these are characters. So your data object is not ready to capture character. And also we have seen inside this line what are all there. So data is a keyword, type is a keyword, and N1 here is a data object which you have created. And for your statement, there is a syntax. What is your syntax? Data followed by data object and type followed by data type. So it is always not possible for me to first write the syntax and then explain you what is the code. So for example, I have written a logic like this: data p1 type C. Okay. So whenever I have written this code, so I'll be do the pretty print. So when I do the pretty print, keywords will be turned into upper cases. So whatever it is not turned into upper cases, you think like these are changeable manual entries. Whatever not changed into upper cases, that is syntax. You have to use in that way only. Okay. So every time I will not try to write in this way, data followed by data object, type followed by data type like this. But you have to think whenever I write a code in this way, I will explain what is the data use, type use. And whatever it is not converted into upper cases, those are your own choice. Either you can write N1, you can write P1, or you can write input, whatever it is you want. And after type also, you can provide integers, characters, dates. This is your choice. And which are not in uppercase, that is your choice. Which are in uppercase, that is a syntax you have to remember in this way. Okay. And coming to today's, so what is data object? So in this line we have seen data is a keyword which is used to create the data object. So what is mean by the data object is, data object is nothing but which is a container which holds data at a runtime. So we have different types of data objects. So what are those different types is, we have variables, we have work area, and we do have internal table. So all these three comes under data objects. So when do we use variable? When do we use work area? When do we use internal table data object is, it depends on the data which you are processing. So to understand much about these things, you have to look at the standard transaction code. So let me show you one transaction code which is used to create the sales order. If you go to here, so this is a sales order transaction. To create the sales order, we used to provide customer information. Sold to party is customer, to whom sales order is internal document. Internal document means if Tata Motors is a Tata company, they wanted to sell a product to a customer, which is a car. So then they have to create one sales order in their business for a tracking purpose to whom they are selling this product. That is called internal purpose. So in this sales order, they will write, okay, who is the customer, what we are selling, how many quantity we are selling, and what is the price, when is the delivery for this. So every details they will create inside this. So when they enter the data like sold to party, PO information, and PO date, purchase order date. So they will provide inputs here, and then they will enter this header information. No customer record. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then they'll go to header section. In the header section, they will fill this sales area information. After that, they will come back, and then they will enter material information and how many quantities this material is ordered. Material means a technical terminology. So this material has a information like a car or something. Okay. So 10 particular quantities are ordered. So how much, what is the plant, from which plant this part has to be delivered. So it is always like multiple, not only single. Okay. So they will enter multiple information, and then they will create the order. Then if you observe here, when they click on save, all your data has to be moved through data objects into database layer that we discussed yesterday. So presentation ERP software is designed in such a way, presentation where user access, and once you click on save in the application layer, ABAP programs, it will capture your data. That information, your ABAP language programs are updated into SAP database table. So in application layer, what will happen, it will create the data objects. Data objects it will create through ABAP programming, and it will capture your front end inputs. So if you see, sold to party is a single number. To capture sold to party, you need a variable. So sold to party is a single number, one customer. So to capture this, you will be using in ABAP programming. So this is a presentation layer where user enter. In application layer, ABAPer will write code to capture the user entered value. So what you will write, you will create the data object. So you will create a variable LV sold to. So you'll create a data object called LV sold to. So this will capture your input value. So this is data object of type variable. Variable always hold single input. Okay, single input of the field. And if you go to header section, we have sales area information, which is a combination of sales organization, distribution channel, division. So if you see, sales area is a combination of sales organization, distribution channel, division. So to capture this sales area data, so you need a work area, sales area information. So it's contain sales organization and distribution channel and division. So sales organization, let's say 1000, distribution channel 01, and division is 01. So this is also a data object. So what is the type of data object is work area. Work area means it holds single record information, combination of different fields of single value. To hold single record, when we say record is group of fields together is a record. So to capture single record information, we will use work area data object. So LB sold to work area, everything is a data object. Why I need data object? Because directly I can't move whatever user entered in the screen. First of all, I need to capture into my data object, into my application, and then only I can map this information into database. That is what the architecture they have designed. Finally, I'll move this information into tables. So customer information into customer table, KNA1, and sales information into sales table, VBAK. To move it, first I need to capture in a data object. So to capture into the data objects, for single records I'll use variables. For group of information I'll use work area. Then where we will use internal table is, so internal table is a another data object. This is a different another data object. So by using this, you can capture multiple records information, which means item, sales order has item, right? Item and material and quantity information. So where you are giving in the bottom. So if you go here, item overview, so these are the item information. So items is always multiple, it is not like single. So you can give multiple items information when you are creating this sales order. So items are multiple. To hold this multiple records information, I need a data object of type internal table. So in the internal table, I'll capture item details 10, 20, 30, whatever user entered, M-01 and M-02, M-03, and quantity 10, 20, 15. So whatever user entered in the screen, to capture it into the uh, data object level, we need a type of data object, different types. So one data object variable cannot hold multiple records. So to hold multiple records information, you need a data object of type internal table. So basically, data object is nothing but which is a carrier to hold your information and move to a database level. So everything is captured into a data object in the backend. So that backend was designed with the help of ABAP programming language. So data object is what? Which is a container which holds data at runtime. Runtime means when you click on save, backend some process will generate that you cannot see. That is called runtime. So when you click on save, something will run in the backend and one sales order number will be generated. So the backend process is called runtime. So at that time, inputs will be considered and sales order will be generated. Your data objects will get assigned with the values during the runtime process. Okay, remember that. So finally, what we understood, data object is a container which holds data at runtime, and how data objects are created is with the help of a keyword called data. So data is a keyword which is used to create the data objects, which means you can create a variable, you can create a work area, you can create an internal table, but Data is the keyword to create this all data objects. And we created one data object n1. So what is the type of this data object? It is a variable. How can you say variable? Because it is holding single value. That is where it is a variable. And this variable value is not constant, always keep on change, which means right now you have given 4. If I given n1 equal to, after this 6, value will be changed. And if you ask what is the value inside the data object, then it will show as 6. So now data objects data, how we can display? So first thing, data keyword will create the data object purpose is to hold the information. Okay, now once the data object is holding the information, how this data objects data will be processed either to the table or to the end user or to the, for our visibility purpose in the presentation, how we can pass is by using a write statement. So write is the keyword which is used to display data objects information. So what is the purpose of write? Write keyword purpose is to display data objects data into output level. And you need to remember, write is only used for variable. It only display variables data. So it can't display work area information. It will not display internal table information. So always it has to display variables data only. Then you may have a question, then how work area internal table data will be seen into the output, or it will be processed to the table level. So when you wanted to process work area or internal table data, this work area information you have to break into different variables. Even internal table also you need to break into different variables. Whenever you break into a variable, then only you can possible to display or to process into the database. So we will see elaborately the breaking, how we can break work area into a variable, internal table into a variable later. So what we understood so far, data objects which holds data at runtime, we have different types of data objects, and we seen what is the purpose of variable, work area, internal table, and we also discussed keywords. So what are the different types keywords we have seen now? Data is one keyword which is used to create data objects. Type is one more keyword which is used to create data type to the data object, assign data type to the data object. And equal to is a operator, equal to plus, minus, division, or less than, greater than. So these are all called operators, symbols, where we do in the mathematics, right? So all these call it as operators. So what is the use of equal to operator? Equal to operator uses, we can create, we can pass data objects data into, we can pass values into data objects by using equal to operator. Always value assignment is from right to left. You have to pass like this only, but you cannot pass in this way. Data object will not carry if you pass information in this way. Only you have to pass from your right side to left side. Then only it will capture values. And data type. As I told you, we have different data types. We have integer, we have characters, we have dates, we have times, we have string. So we have currency, CURR, and quantity, units. So we do have different types of data types. Basically, what is data type is what type of data you are inserting, which determined by the data type. If you wanted to capture name, you have to use character. If you wanted to capture numbers, you have to use integer. If you wanted to capture a date, you have to use dates. If you wanted to capture a time, you need to use t. So based on your need, you need to choose a related data type and assign memory to the data object. Now it will be ready to hold the values. So let me get into the system. We'll create a few more data objects with the different data types, and we will assign some values and see how the values will be displayed into the output.
One small doubt.
Yes.
That LV underscore sold, you already told that WA means work area, internal level. What about this LV?
LV means it's a name. So for my understanding, I have given local variable.
Okay, local variable.
So sometimes you will write like this, global variable. Sometimes people write in this way, variable. So this is our own naming convention. So no one will say you have to use in this way. So this is a data object, right? So here you can see data object is our choice. For your understanding, what is the way is preferable, you can write it. Okay, this is not always like work area means it is not always like a WA. So someone will say LS, local structure. Okay, but what you need to remember is whenever you are holding a single value, it is a variable. Whenever you are holding a group of fields value, single record, it is a work area or local structure, whatever it is. Whenever you are holding a group of fields, multiple records, then it is a internal table. Okay.
Okay.
So now this is our program. So we have created two different types, data types. N1 is type integer and N2 is type date. And we have passed for N1 2 and N2 we will pass date information. So date will be, you need to pass year, month, date. So 2024 and 07 and date is 28. And also, so if you wanted to display data objects information, you are going to use write keyword. So this write you can write multiple times, or whatever what I can say, like you can use a single write, use separator, and then N1 comma space N2. So the syntax of this and syntax of this both are same. If you wanted to display data objects data, multiple data objects with one simple write statement, you can display it, but at that moment you have used colon and separator. For colon, you need to give any space. So right, not normally we said it's a space driven language, right? Not case sensitive. So you can write in this way, right? It is okay, but it is not required to give spaces for this. Okay, you can use in this way, but data objects definitely space is needed. One after another, you have to give the space. For colon, separators, period, you don't need to give the space. After N2, you don't need to give space and give the enter period. So immediately you can specify. For this, there is no need of spaces. So save, check, activate, and execute so that you will see the data. So now you can see the date information is coming as 0. Why? Let me pass in this way. So now which is coming, but it is still wrong. So you need to provide date, month, year, activate, and execute. So 2024, 2807. So now if you observe here, N1 is data type integer and number we have given directly, and N2 is date related data type. So this date information, if you are not given in between quotes, the system is giving result as 0. Why? Because system point of view, the date data type is a date related information. This is not number. Okay, so in that cases, uh, there are literals concept. Okay, so we do have literals. So what is this literals is? Literals is one type of data objects. So we do have numeric literals and we do have character literals. So what is mean by numeric literals is, so some data types uh, can only accept numerical literals, which means it is a system, it will not think this is a number. So system point of view, it is a date. So when to believe this is a date, you have to provide in between quotes. So when you provide in between quotes, this is a numeric literal. So numeric literal means system can understood now it's a date information you are passing. Otherwise, system thought like when you written without quotes, system will think it is a number. So and N2 is a date related data type and you are passing a number, so obviously it won't display. So to understand system, it is a date only you are passing, you have to use columns. Then only system will understood, okay, this is a date user is passing, and date also in a format of dd mm yy concept. So when you assign type d, automatically there are length 8 characters is allocated for this data object n2. When you use I, for there is a default length for integer, I think 3 characters, which is allocated for n1. So how it is allocated, how many characters, you can see it in the debug mode. So debug mode is nothing but it is a mode where in the application server how your program was thinking by the system. So always you can go to the debug mode in the operation section. So what is this operation section is, every program. So whenever you write any program, this program has 3 different sections. One is declarations and another one is operations and final one is display. So any program, if you consider any program in ABAP, all programs, even 10,000 lines of code also have these 3 main sections. One is declarations and operations and display part. So declarations means creation of your data objects is called declarations. Operation means what is the purpose you are creating this program. So I am creating this program to display number information and date information. This is my purpose. So for this purpose, you are creating this program. So to fulfill your purpose, you have to assign value to the data object. So that is called operations. And display part, okay, now your data objects holds value. How can you display this information? That is display. So always your ABAP program has these 3 main sections: declarations, operations, and a display part. And debugger. So debugger means system understanding. Where you can stop is not at the declarations, only you can stop at the operation, because this is creation of the data object. During the creation, you cannot see what is happening in the application level. So automatically it will create based on your syntax. But what you can see after created, you can stop the system not to proceed with the logic part. Basically, operation is nothing but logic area where you will build your logic. So this logic area, you can stop and observe what are the declaration, what are the data objects created, and what is the logic part, what you are doing, so that you can see in the application layer. So to see in the application layer these details, you have to place cursor here and then click on this breakpoint. So what is mean by this breakpoint is, we wanted to stop system not to execute other lines of code. So we wanted to see inside the system what it is thinking, and we need to proceed to process this remaining lines of code. So if you are not stopped here, when you execute, what will happen? System will read all the lines and it will give you the output based on your operations. So now you wanted to asking the system to stop, don't execute on your own. I need to execute. In that case, you will place a breakpoint here and then execute. So when you execute it, system will stop execution the program lines from here. So it won't execute until you run it. So now why we go in this mode is to see what are the data objects are created and how the logic it is going further. So if you see, there are two data objects created, n1, n2. So n1 is a integer type data type, and there are uh, 4 characters will be assigned. So initially there is no value assigned, so that's where it is 0. And if you go to n2, so n2 is a data type of D. By defaultly SAP has given 8 characters because date means obviously it always have year 4 characters, date 2 characters, month 2 characters. Together it is 8. That's where they have designed this data type with 8 characters. So automatically when you are not passing any value, by defaultly 0 is allocated, 8 characters. And then
Sanjay,
uh,
hello
now
Sanjay.
system will not trigger your lines, you need to trigger it. So how we can process the lines is, you need to click on this single step F5 function key in your machine, laptop. So when you click on this F5, then line will be executed. So now you can see what is the value was allocated to data object n1. So 2 is the value which is allocated to n1. Now click on F5. Now you can see what is the value is allocated to n2. The date information was allocated. And where we are in write statement. So this is your last step. When you are in last step, execute F8. Okay. So when you are in last step, don't click on F5, F6. This is F6, this is F7. You will slowly understood what is the difference. So don't execute F5 or F6. Why? Because if you execute F5, F6, you will be into the same program. So you don't know what is happening. Okay. So when you are in the last statement, click on F8. So when you click on F8, you will see the result into your output screen. This is called your presentation screen or output screen, where you can see the data objects values here. So if you are not placing breakpoint, system will read all your lines of code and it will execute. So now I'll pass for N1, we have passed 2, right? So I'll pass N1 as a character, N1 equal to, I'll pass. So whenever you are passing a name or something, you need to pass via single quotes. Okay, remember this. So you should not pass value like this. So system will not understood what you are saying. So you need to say this is a name. Name means you have to pass in between single quotes only, because system knows numbers but it can't understood the English format. So is it a name you are passing or whatever, system may not understood. So that's why you need to use character literal. This is called character literal. So you need to pass your characters in literal format. Now save, check, activate. So system was not given any issue. When you execute, you see there is a error occurred. So this is called error screen. So error screen means system is unable to execute operation. When system is went into a state where it can't process your request, in that case it will throw error. Sorry, I can't process your request. So and so issue is occurred. So it will give you the full details. What is the issue occurred? So where its system is unable to process your understanding. So here you can see there is a arrows which is saying that in this particular line system is unable to process your request, and that's where this error is coming. In SAP terminology, these are called short dumps. So now if you wanted to go inside and see, you can click on debugger. It will take you inside the code. So you can see what is the N1 data. type. So n1 is a data object of type integer, and it will take only integer values. But what you are passing a character values. So that's the reason system is unable to process your request, and it is entered into a error state. So once you understood what is the issue, you can exit this debugger, and then again go to your program. Now change the values to integer, or if you wanted to pass character values, then create one more data object like n1. So create one more data object. So I'll remove these comments. Data n3 type C, pretty print. Now you have one more data object which is n3. So for n3 you will pass character now, n1, n2 and n3. So here also write n3. So pretty print, save, check what happened, n1 3, where, okay, check, activate. So now execute. So when you see here, this is n1 value, this is n2 value, this is n3 value. But n3 value I am passing Sanjay, but here I can see only S. Why? Because of the data type what we have used. So if you go to the debug, so enter n1, n2, n3, or you can go to the locals or global section where you can see the created data objects will be visible here in the global section. n1, you can see the data type and length is integer, length is 4. For n2, data type is date, length is 8. n3, data type is character, and length is only 1 character. So that's where its system is able to only pass yes, and it is unable to pass the other characters. So to improve the length, you need to extend your logic. So you have to use data n3 of how many characters of your name, that many characters you provided in between the brackets. Now save, check, activate, and now execute. Now go to the closing this window, go to the globals. Now in the global section, you can see n3 is the data object. Now data type is 5, data type is C, and length is 5 characters. And now how many characters you are passing? Uh, there are 6. Okay. Now it will ignore Y. So now F5, F5. Now you can see what is the n3 value. N3 value is only 5 characters because of the length which you have specified. So if you want, you can improve the length here so that system will give you the proper name. Now you will be getting the full name. So sometimes we don't know what is the length of the name. Okay. So in that case, what you can do is you can create another data type, n4 type string, use with a different data type. So when you go for a string, so you no need to specify length. Automatically length will be allocated based on the value you assigned. So n4 equal to, so if I write welcome to ABAP, so pretty print, and here n4 I am writing. So save, check, activate. So now execute. So you can see total characters which are coming because of the data type what we have used. So for string, automatically so much memory will be allocated, and based on the value assignment, the memory will be length will be decided to the data object. So you can place a breakpoint and execute. In the debugger, you can see global section. So this is the data type and length. For all the other data objects N1, N2, N3, data type and length also already specified. But for N4, data type is string, but length is not given. Length will be automatically adjusted when you pass value. So when you pass the value, now length is adjusted 15 characters based on the value assignment. So when you don't know what is the length of the value which you supposed to pass, in that case you can use string operation, string data type. But a recommendation is always use exact data type with the exact length. If you, let's say I know always I need only character 6, so in that case it is recommended to use this one instead of string. Why? Because when you use a string, there is a huge memory will be allocated to the data object N4. And why? Because we don't know what is the value which comes. That is the reason so much memory will be allocated. So which means if you are using so many strings, so much memory is consuming by your program. So memory is consumption is very important. So that's the way always you have to, if you know how much characters are required, so always give the number of characters with the type followed by the data type instead of going for the string because of the memory usage. And now if I execute see the data, it is coming in a single line. I wanted to see this information into a new lines, not in a one row. In that case, you can use forward slash. So when you use forward slash, for each and every data object. So here N1 is a data object, N2 is a data object, N3 is a data object, and N4 is a data object. For every data object, when you use forward slash, which means display this object information into a new line. So this is meaning for new line. Now execute, you can see this is the first line data object, second line, third line, and fourth line. And you want uh, one after another, an underline is required. Okay, so in that case you can use u line. So u line, so u line is the one which provides underline. Let's save, check and activate. So what is the error? U line is unknown. Psi u line, let me try this one. Okay, it's a psi u line, not u line. Now execute. So you can see a new underline will be created. So if you need for each and every, you can use underlines. So psi u line is a system variable, SAP created one. So this is used to provide underlines for your output. And this is N1, right? N1 is coming as 2. I wanted to pass some text saying that integer value, data type integer value. So data type integer value is N1. So I wanted to say data type integer value is 2 in my output. In that case, you have to use character literal, comma followed by your data object. Now if you save, check, activate and execute, you can see data type integer value is 2. And for this, if you want to write today date is N2. So here, whatever you write in between quotes is a character literal. Character literal is also a data object. So when you use data object, you have to use comma. So N2 is a data object and this one also a data object. So write is a keyword which is used to display data object information into output of type variable. So here this is variable and n2 also variable only. So two different variables. To display two different variable, you have to use colon, a separator, and then space is required. Today date is, what is this? So like this, if you want, you can pass some text and display information into the output. So right now, today we have used integer, decimals, characters, right? So there are different data types are available. Yesterday I showed you data types in ABAP program. So we have packed string, floating point, time. So we do have different data types. So write a program with using different data types and then see how you are able to get the data. So if you see here, there is a data object of type character they have created. We have assigned a length using brackets. So here they are assigned length using length keyword. So you can also use the same syntax if you want. Like so, this is character, right? So I'll be creating one more n5 type C length 10. So pretty print. Now you can pass n5 equal to SAP ABAP program. So write n5 n5. So pretty print, save, check, activate, and execute. And execute. So SAP ABAP only it comes till P. Why? Because total characters are 10 only we have given. So 12, 13, 14. So extend your length 14 characters. So it will display all the characters into output. SAP ABAP program. So the way of giving length 6 characters or length 14 characters, both are same. You are giving a length to your data object n3 n5. So for n3 you are giving 6 in between brackets. Here you have used one more keyword called length by giving the position, how many characters your data objects it is required. So go through this tutorial. There are different data objects are there, data types are there. With some examples, you try with other data types. So we have executed character, decimals, date information, right? So you try with the numeric, integer, with the different data types, and try to display information into the output so that you will have some walkthrough about how we can use the data types into your program and how can we display information into the output. Okay. Any doubts so far today?
Sanjay, can you hear me?
Yeah, tell me.
He in the first data n1 type I, right? Like you haven't mentioned any the length of integer actually. So it default took 4. Uh, the default is if we don't mention everything will take 4, or integers will take 4 and rest of them have their own detail actually.
Every data type has its own default lengths that is decided by the ABAP language. For integer, defaultly they have given 4 characters. So till 4 characters you can enter numbers. More than that, if you enter and that is not coming, then you have to improve the length. Similar for other data types as well. If you have used character, defaultly one character length will be allocated. If you need more data to be printed, then you have to improve the length of the variable. Any other doubts? Okay, if no questions, we can wind up for the day. Thank you.
Something.